Tomorrow, in all 50 of these United States, voters will pick the next leader of the free world. Mark and I spent the weekend flying around with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, touching down in battleground states across the country as the candidates made their final dash to the finish line of this dizzying, electrifying, exhausting, and sometimes stomach-churning race. That is what brought me here to the city of brotherly love, where tonight Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, and also John Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen will hold a super-duper mega rally tonight. And that is why Mark is up in New Hampshire, where Donald Trump and his number two, Mike Pence, are holding a monster rally of their own. All told, today was a frenzy of more than 24 campaign events featuring the nominees, their running mates, and their tip-top surrogates.
Hello, Pittsburgh!
Florida's my second home.
If Hillary wins in North Carolina, take it to the bank. She's president of the United States.
In one day, do you believe this? One day, we are going to win the great state of North Carolina.
We've got one more day, Michigan.
Will you win Michigan?
We will win Michigan.
We've got to make sure 24 hours to go. We leave no stone unturned.
This is the most consequential election of our lifetime.
People love their country.
Tomorrow is the election, but that is just the beginning. We have to heal this country.
We're a very divided country. People don't realize we are an unbelievably divided country. We're going to come together.
It now just comes down to you. It's out of Hillary's hands now. It's out of Michelle's hands. It's out of my hands. It's in your hands.
Vote! Get your friends out. Every single vote counts.
So the final polls of this cycle are now basically all in. The gist, it is a tight race, even as Hillary Clinton maintains a sliver of a lead. Our final Bloomberg Politics national poll has Clinton up by 3 points among likely voters, 44 to 41%. That's similar to a flurry of other national polls out today that have her up about 4 or 5 points. The state polls break down into 3 categories. First are from Clinton-leaning states. She's up by 6 points in a Virginia survey by Christopher Newport University. The Albuquerque Journal has her up by 5 points in New Mexico, and Fox 2 Detroit has her up 5 in Michigan. That is all good news for Hillary Clinton, since these are all states that Donald Trump's team has been trying to pick off in recent days. Then there is Iowa, a state that's been leaning towards Donald Trump of late. A Des Moines Register survey has the Republican nominee up by 7 points there. But most of the day's polls come from toss-up states that will likely decide this election: North Carolina, Florida, and Nevada. Clinton is either tied or ahead by a couple of points in each of these states, according to polls by Quinnipiac, Gravis, and Emerson. Trump and Clinton are virtually tied in 2 Ohio polls, one by CBS and the other from the Columbus Dispatch. But we should note that there was an Emerson poll today that has Trump leading Clinton by as much as 7 in the Buckeye State, though that appears to be an outlier. What isn't factored into any of these numbers? Yesterday's surprise by FBI Director James Comey, who informed Congress that the Bureau had examined those newly discovered Clinton emails from Anthony Weiner's laptop, and who, after sending a shockwave through this race less than 2 weeks ago, Comey's now suggesting there's very little to see here. The FBI director is standing behind his decision in July not to recommend charges against the Democratic nominee. Today is Raleigh in Raleigh, North Carolina. Trump brought up that subject as well.
Of course, the FBI, the director, was obviously under tremendous pressure. So they went through 650,000 emails in 8 days. Yeah, right.
So, Mark, we have these poll numbers. We heard the campaign messages over the weekend. Taking all that into account, where do you think the race stands as of now?
Forget Access Hollywood, forget Comey, forget all the polls. Let's just get down to where we are. Hillary Clinton is on the doorstep of being elected president of the United States. She's got the structural advantages. She's run a good campaign over the last few weeks. She's dealt with the outside events like Comey very well. She is the favorite. She's the heavy favorite. Trump has never gone ahead. He's behind in these national polls. To say she's the favorite is not to say that Trump doesn't have a path. Look at this map. If you take all the states where Trump is down by 2 points or less and give them to Trump, he gets to 269. It's the so-called New Hampshire scenario we've talked about for a while. Give him that one district in Maine and he gets exactly 270. I'm not predicting it. I'm not saying it's going to happen. How could he get every state that's a toss-up? Somewhere he's even or a little ahead, somewhere he's within 2 points. The way he'd get it is if it turns out that there is a silent majority There's more enthusiasm on the Trump side. If that's true, Trump is within striking distance of doing what he needs to do, run the table. Hard, but not impossible.
Yeah, not impossible, but I would say so hard as to be close to impossible. Not impossible, not impossible. But I think one of the things that we've said on this show certainly for a couple of weeks and probably even longer, is that the only way for Trump to win and pull off that feat that you just outlined, Mark, is if there is some kind of a national wave. This is not going to be a thing where he sort of cherry picks his way to 270 electoral votes. It's going to be a narrow path, but it's going to basically mean that he's going to have to see a movement in concert kind of across the battleground states where he performs, where he picks up the points that he needs to win them all. And I can't, it's not clear to me where that would come from. That seems plausible in my mind. And I'll say that the Clinton campaign, which does an extraordinary amount of data analysis, man, they are really confident that they will win this race. Not by a lot, but that they'll win it.
The only way they'll lose is if their models aren't taking into account some element of how voters feel about her, how voters feel about Trump. These other states that they're talking about in the scenarios beyond the New Hampshire scenario, Colorado, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, New Mexico, maybe. But in the end, North Carolina, Nevada, those are the states I think they're going to be the toughest for him to win and potentially end his hopes.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then we're really going to have a lot of science that's going to go out the window.